Today I thought we'd do a bit about sanding. I quite often have customers ring me to say they can't get stuff flat, they're cutting through in places and they have all sorts of problems sanding. Nothing beats a random orbital sander if you want to take material off. But if you're not careful and you go near edges, you'll do this. You'll wear through, you'll cut through near the edges. It's great for taking material off and getting about 80 to 90% of all your gloss off, and then if you want it flat, go to a half sheet sander. Nothing beats a half sheet sander for flattening stuff off and giving you a reasonably flat surface. And then if you want to get it really flat, go to this fella. Mercury brought out a torture board, and this thing will actually go concave and convex, so it's ideal for boat hulls and curved surfaces as well. The other thing that Mercury's got, and they're brilliant, pad savers. You whack him on your on your random orbital sander. You know the Velcro goes on your sander after a fairly short period of time, and they're $30 to $50 each depending on the sander. Well, a pad saver, you put them on, and you can get them for $125 and $150mm random orbital sanders, and they save you a lot of money. They're $6 to $8. The pads stick to them better than a normal sander pad anyway, and they throw them away once they're damaged. But I find they last ages, and they last longer than the standard sander pads. So save yourself some money. Come and buy a couple of these, and they'll save you a lot. The other thing we've come across is Abranet sanding disc. Absolutely brilliant for working on epoxies and taking material off fast. They'll last 2 to 3 times longer than a standard sanding disc when you're playing with epoxy. Come in various grits, so 80, 120, 240. So when you start out sanding, don't go any coarser than 80. We'll find if you go coarser than 80 grit when you're sanding, what happens, the grit tends to grab the epoxy and your sander will rotate around it. Whereas 80 grit, it'll still take it off quite well, and it'll sand extremely well. So once you get the majority of the gloss off, say down to about 2 to 5mm circles of gloss or areas of gloss, and you've got most of the high spots off, go down to 120 and take the majority off. And back a step, if you're going to keep epoxying, just use 80 grit. You don't have to go any finer. In actual fact, you'll get less adhesion going down to 240 grit than just using 80 grit when you're putting more epoxy over the top. But if you want to paint, go 80, get the majority of the gloss off, then down to 120, and then down to 240 from there. Another little tip is don't sand between coats when you're playing with epoxy. You know, you're taking good material off. Put anywhere from 2 to 4 coats on it and go wet on wet. So as soon as it's sticky, you can put your next coat on. Anyway, that's enough to do with sanding this. Go and have a play and you'll see the difference.